Hi everyone, welcome to this video. We're going to develop during this video questions 6 to 7 to 10 of chapter 22 Frontiers of Microeconomics. Remember, this is a book of Gregory Mankiw, Principles of Economics. So the first question in this video is the question 6. So three friends are choosing a restaurant for dinner. Here are their preferences. So here we have the table and we have the preferences ordered from the relevance, the most preferable for each character to the last one. So here we have the three characters, Rachel, Rose, and Joey. And then Rachel prefers Italian. And then the second option should be Chinese, then Mexican, and the last option should be French. And then with the other characters exactly the same. So if the three friends are using a Borda count to make their decision, where do they go to it? Then here we have the table. So then first we are going to establish, or we are going to make some values for the options. So then we are going to provide points to the most preferable option. In this case, this should be the first choice. And we are going to choose 4 because we have 4 options. Naturally, if we have 3, we're going to start with 3 as the maximum point. Then 4 for the first option for all friends, then 3 for the second, and so on and so forth. Then we're going to sum up the options for each restaurant. Then Italian should be 9. Why? 4 plus 4 plus 1. Then we end with 9. Chinese 3, 3, 4, 10. Mexican 2, 2, and 3. Then French 1, 1, and 2. Then naturally the most preferable restaurant with the Borda count should be Chinese because it has 10 points. The second question says, on their way to their chosen restaurant, they see that the Mexican and French restaurants are closed. So they use a Borda count again to decide where between the remaining 2 restaurants. Where do they decide to go now? Obviously, the automatic response could be that you infer that obviously you're going to go to the Chinese restaurant. So why is so important the situation that Mexican and French are closed? But definitely it has some inconvenience because of the Borda count. Let's establish points again. So we're going to establish 2. Natural, because we just have 2 options, Italian and Chinese. Then should be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Then, as you can see, Italian will finish with 5, and Chinese now with 4. Then Italian should be the options due to Mexican and French restaurants, they are closed. Then the question is the C question. How do your answers to parts A and B relate to Arrow's Impossibility Theorem? Remember, the Arrow's Impossibility Theorem establishes that there is not possible that some votation can be the perfect one. In any way, this should violate at least one of the prepositions of the perfect system of votation. In this case, remember that the first was Chinese, Then the second was Italian, and it violates independence of irrelevant alternatives. Naturally, the other ones, the Mexican and French, they were irrelevant because at the end of the day you chose Chinese as a first option. So then, how come this situation can establish a problem to the last decision? Then the Borda Count, as we saw before, it violates independence of irrelevant alternatives because the option of or the selection changed in spite of deciding the first situation just Chinese instead of Mexican or French. Then, seventh question. Three friends are choosing a TV show to watch. Here are the preferences: Chandler, Phoebe, and Monica. So we have the first options. For example, for Chandler should be NCIS, Glee, or Homeland, and then we have for the other characters. So the first questions: if the three friends try using a Borda Count to make their choice, what would happen? Then we have here, we establish points to this to each option, and then we have NCIS with 6, which comes from 3, 1, and 2. Then we have 6. Then Glee 6. Then sorry, it's not NCIS. Should be Homeland. Should be 1, 2, 3, and 3, 6. So naturally, there is no preferred options. So we can establish we should be the options with the Borda Count. With this system, all the options should be exactly indifferent to the other ones. Then, B. Monica suggests a vote by majority rule. She proposes that first they chose between NCIS and Glee, and then they choose between the winner of the first vote in Homeland. If they all vote the preferences honestly, what outcome would occur? Then, first we have NCIS versus Glee. So then Chandler would say, okay, before making some joke, he would say, okay, should be NCIS, then Phoebe should be Glee, and then Monica NCIS. Then naturally, this one should be NCIS versus Homeland. Then Chandler would say NCIS, Phoebe should be Homeland, and then Monica Homeland. Then Homeland should be the series of the program that they will choose. Then should Chandler agree to Monica's suggestion? What voting system would he prefer? Naturally, he doesn't agree because with this system, the option should be the third choice of Chandler. So then he would prefer the next order. So he would prefer Glee versus Homeland. Then should be Chandler Glee, Phoebe Glee, then Monica Homeland. So the option should be Glee versus NCIS, Chandler NCIS, Phoebe Glee, Monica NCIS. Then should be NCIS. So naturally, with this system of rolling out options, so the series that friends will watch should be NCIS. So this should be better for Chandler. D. Phoebe and Monica convince Chandler to go along with Monica's proposal. In round 1, Chandler dishonestly says he prefers Glee over NCIS. Why might he do this? So let's see something. Chandler, instead of saying NCIS, he will choose dishonestly Glee. Why? Because then Phoebe will choose Glee and Monica NCIS. So then the next round should be between Glee and Homeland instead of NCIS and Homeland. So naturally, Chandler would say Glee, Phoebe Glee, and Monica Homeland. So then the option should be Glee. And then Chandler prefer watching Glee instead of Homeland as the previous situation. So then Chandler can act dishonestly just to take advantage and watch the second choice instead of the third choice. 8. 5 roommates are planning to spend the weekend in the dorm room watching movies, and they are debating how many movies to watch. Here is their willingness to pay. So then we have these 5 friends, and then for the first film, Canteen will pay maximum $14, Spike 10, and so on and so forth, until Steven $2 for the first film. Naturally, when you are going to watch the second film, you value it less as the first film due to the low or diminishing marginal return. Because when you drink the first glass of water, you are naturally thirsty. Then the second one, maybe you are not like as thirsty as before. Then naturally, for this reason, the willingness to pay will be less than the first film. Even actually, Steven, as you can see, he's not like really into films, because with the second film, Steven would not pay nothing for the second film. Then in the fifth film, the only person that represents a willingness to pay should be Canteen with $2. Buying a DVD costs $15, which the roommate split equally, so each pays $3 per movie. A. What is the efficient number of movies to watch? That is, the number that maximizes total surplus. Then, here we have the table, and let's start with the first film. We're going to sum like the maximum of the willingness to pay for each friend, and we're going to subtract the cost of the DVD. Then we're going to see if there is any surplus here for that situation. So here for the first film they get 23, because this should be 24, this should be 32 plus 2, 34, and then 38 minus 15, we will end with 23. So then we have positive like profits, right? We have profits in some way because there is a surplus, because they are willing to pay even more what they receive. So we're going to move to the second film. With the second film we have 12, 8, 4, 2 minus 15, and then we finish with this the entrance. Okay, the entrance here should be 11. So then we can move on. With the third film, we have this situation. We have 10, 6, 2. And then with the fourth film, we have 8. 8 is lower than 15. So rationally, this is not okay if we move to the fourth film. And we get, at the end of the day, this a positive. As you can see here, the situation is like we are ending with the situation of marginal income is exactly equal to marginal cost. At the end of the day, we know that the cost of each movie should be 15, and then we have the benefits 10 plus 6 plus 2, 18. If we move when the marginal income is lower to the marginal cost, because we are going to get just 8, this is not rational. So the one the number of films that maximize the surplus for those friends should be 3 films. Then, from the standpoint of each roommate, what is the preferred number of movies? Then, let's start with Kentin. Kentin should pay, remember, they need to split the DVD over 5. So then, the first film, he will get 11. In the second film, he will get 8. So we can continue. On the third film, he can get 7. For the fourth film, he will get 3. And then for the next one, 2 is less than 3. So then we are going to finish with the fourth film. Moving with the Spike, we have first film, 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. Then the second film we have 5. Third film we have 3. And then fourth film, it doesn't make any sense because 2 is lower than 3. Then for Spike should be 3 films. And Ridley should have 5 for the first, 1 for the second. Then for Ridley should be 2. And Steven, no films at all, because actually he is willing to pay just 2. Then, what is the preference of the median roommate? 2 films. Why? Because we have here 1. Here we have in the x-axis the films and then the people. Then here the situation is the next. With 0 films, should be just 1, should be Steven. 1 film should be preferable for 1, which should be Martin. For 2 films, we already saw that should be the situation of Ridley. Then with 3 films should be Spike, and then 4 films should be Kentin. Then this one is the median roommate. Why? Because this one we see here that 1, 2, 3 people should vote this situation. This should be the median roommate is there. D. If the roommates held a vote on the efficient outcome versus the median voter's preference, how would each person vote? Which outcome would get a majority? So then the efficient will end with 3 films and the median voter with 2 films. So then actually Kentin prefers 3, Spike again prefer 3, and Ridley prefer 2 films, right? Martin 2 and Steven 2. So then remember, this should be like the median voter just should be like this one, 2 films at the end of the day. This should be the majority. Then if one of the roommates proposed a different number of movies, could his proposal be the winner from part D in a vote? Well, the point is it's not possible because it is the median voter, and this is the one that everyone prefers, or at least the maximum people that prefer that situation. F. Can majority rule be counted on to reach efficient outcomes in the provision of public goods? Well, the idea is we need to maximize the whole sum of outcomes, not as individual function, because then there should be different results. 9. 2 ice cream stands are deciding where to set up along a 1-mile beach. The people are uniformly located along the beach. It means they are located equidistant during or throughout the 1-mile beach. And each person sitting on the beach buys exactly 1 ice cream cone per day from the nearest stand. So then your decision is you are going to buy to the ice cream stand that is closer to you, and you're going just to buy one. Each ice cream seller wants the maximum number of customers. Then, where along the beach will the two stands located? Of which result in this chapter does this outcome remind you? So imagine that this is the beach, and this is naturally the sea. Then we have here uniformly, as we said before, it means that they are in the same distance along the beach. So it's supposed that I'm here in the kilometer 0 or in the kilometer 1, or sorry, in the mile 0 or in the 1 mile. You're going to sell exactly the same because people are distributed in the same way, right? Then here we have the two stands. We have vendor 1 and here we have vendor 2. Let's start with this situation that the vendor 1 should be in the 0 mile and the vendor 2 should be in the other one. Then we have 0.5 miles, which is the middle point. Naturally, the first vendor will get all the people that they belong to the half part, and the other part should be taken by the vendor 2. Because imagine that there is one person here, he will get to the nearest, then he will go to vendor 2. If a person is in this blue set, this person will go to vendor 1. Okay. Naturally, you can think of that vendor 1. This is the situation, right? But vendor 1 has incentives to move a little bit to get more customers. Imagine that vendor 2 stays the same and respect because he's already taking half, which is fair. Then vendor 1 will take this one, and then vendor 2 will get this part a little bit that he didn't have before. And actually vendor 2 is losing this part that it belonged before to him. Then he's getting, like this one now, 60% of the market. Naturally, vendor 2 can respond to vendor 1, and then they will get this part and they will end with 50. Right? Then vendor 1 answers again, and they move one time to another. I represent here as a sequential game, but as a matter of fact, this is more simultaneous because they can move in the same way. But this is just kind of illustrative to demonstrate that at the end of the day, they will finish exactly in the middle, one close to the other, because vendor 2 would take in again half and vendor 1 half. Then, which is the question was, where along the beach will the two stands locate? As we said, in the middle. Of which result this chapter does this outcome remind you? This is naturally related with game theory. This we can consider as a simultaneous game, and obviously customers can be better if they are at perfect distance of 0.25 and 0.75 miles, and he will get 50, the vendor 2 and the vendor 1 50, and all the customers will be better. Why? Because when they are in the middle exactly, imagine people that they are at the end. The people that they are at the end, obviously they need to go to this guy and go to this guy for the ice cream. Then the Nash equilibrium, unfortunately, is not sustainable. Remember, the Nash equilibrium is that point where there are not incentives to move, to deviate. In this case, obviously, there are strong incentives to deviate for any vendor, because any time that they are closer to the middle point, they are getting more space in the market, more like slice of the market. Then 10. The government is considering two ways to help the needy: giving them cash or giving them free meals at soup kitchen. A. Give an argument based on the standard theory of the rational consumer for giving cash. Obviously, when you provide cash to people instead of this good, the rational consumer will maximize his welfare, because maybe you are in needy, but maybe you don't need soup kitchen, but maybe you need blankets, maybe you need some external conditions or some external goods instead of soup kitchen. So then it could be the case, giving cash could be better. Then obviously each individual has different information than the government cannot see easily. Then each individual knows better the necessities, so for this reason could be better. And we are talking naturally of a problem of asymmetric information. The information that people have is different that the government has. Then B. Give an argument based on asymmetric information for why the soup kitchen may be better than the cash handout. Then, as we know, there is hidden information that cannot be revealed, and maybe soup kitchen can guarantee consumption necessary for families. The problem here is, like, instead of being used in different uses as alcohol or non-necessary devices, as maybe cell phones or smartphones or something that is not really necessary for people. C. Give an argument based on behavioral economics for why the soup kitchen may be better than the cash handout. So people value too much present value, so cash can be spent very fast and cannot be seen in a long run or medium run. So then the soup kitchen can be managed between quotation marks in better way. So as usual, this is my point of view. Is something I just provide tools that maybe if you want to ask something, add something, would be really great. I hope you have enjoyed and you have found this useful for your economic studies. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe, and that's it. See you next video. Bye bye.